Cheers, thank you in Swahili. We also like to say twin day here in Harambe, which means let's go. Please keep your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside at all times, and please be sure to stay seated. Even when we stop, see those beautiful animals, please stay in your seat. It is for your safety. I highly recommend taking photos while we're out there. Just make sure not to drop anything off the side of the truck in the process. If you do drop something, let it go. Then let me know, and we'll try to take it care of for you. Now, just a few safari pro tips before we get started. The quieter that we're able to be out there, the better chance we have of seeing animals up close or longer. So keep that in mind for your own experience, as well as for the experience of the other guests around you. Another tip I have for you is to put your device in some kind of sports mode or live mode to get those photos in motion. We will be moving, and so will the animals, and I don't want your pictures to be blurry. Unless that's how you like them, then you do you. Alright, now we're going to be starting off our safari together in the Little Eturi Forest. I can see that past some of this vegetation over here to your left, there is a black and white bird called a saddle-billed stork. And then to your right, there's an okapi. Now the okapi looks like it's at the rear end of a zebra, but it's not. It's actually the cousin of the giraffe. Okapi were not spotted or documented by Western civilization until 1901. Up until then, they were just thought to be a legend told by the Central Native Africans. The okapi has what's called a prehensile tongue, and prehensile is a word I'm going to use a couple of times today, so go ahead and memorize it. It means that something on the animal can be used, like an extra hand to grab things with. Now, if you happen to see what looks to be a moving rock formation out here, chances are it's a black rhino. But on the smaller side for rhinos, only weighing 3,000 pounds. Okay, now over here to our left, close to the road, this is a greater kudu. Then laying down in the shade there, that's a bongo. Both species of antelope have stripes that go down their bodies to help them blend in with the sunlight and the streams, the trees, the forest. Here we've got another one on our right. Alright, now we're going to head over towards the Saki River, see what's going on down there. But before we get there, by a show of hands, is this anybody's first safari? Alright, well, welcome aboard, new and returning friends. My name is Juliana. I'm from Alabama. I'm so excited to be your safari guide today. We're going to have a good time. Hopefully everyone gets to see something they've never seen before or learn something you may have never heard. You can use the animal spotting hat above your head to give you an idea of what we might see out here today. No guarantee we'll see everything, but we'll try to see as much as possible and learn as much as we can along the way. Alright, we have found some pink-backed pelicans named for the pink coloration on their backs during their mating season. There's also a hippo down there, but we're going to try to head down river and find some more that are a little bit easier to see. Now, pink-backed pelicans are one of the only 8 species of pelicans left in the entire world. Alright, now swimming next to that island, there is a group of hippos, which is called a bloat. An easy way to remember that is bloat rhymes with float, and floating is something hippos don't do very often. Instead, they sink down to the bottom of whatever waterway they're in and walk along the bottom, bouncing up every couple of minutes to get a big breath of air. As they come up for air, their ears go above the surface of the water, but they can still hear below the surface by pant vibrations in their jawbone, which I just think is so cool. Speaking of a hippo's jawbone, they can open up their mouth 4 foot wide, shocker, 18-inch incisors they use to defend themselves with. Alright, just around the river bend, these are Nile crocodiles. They are, on average, the largest crocodile species in Africa, getting to be about 11.5 foot long, though sometimes they can get bigger than that. Though they're holding very still right now when it comes time to strike their prey or defend themselves, they are incredibly fast and strong. People often wonder the difference between alligators and crocodiles. It can be seen pretty easily in the shape of their snout. Alligators have more of a U-shaped snout, whereas crocodiles like those have more of a V-shaped snout. Also depends on where in the world they're from. Up Here at the top of this hill, there's a great big beautiful tree called a baobab tree, also known as the upside down tree, because its branches look like a root structure, almost as if it's been picked up, flipped over, and put upside down on the ground again. Alright, now we've made it to the savannah. With all these wide open spaces, we're probably going to see some animals way off in the distance. For some of those animals, I'm going to wait until we're as close as I can get us to them before I talk about them. That way you can see any physical characteristics I need the time to describe. Whereas the animals that live in the forest rely on their ability to hide to keep them safe, the animals out here on the savannah rely on their speed and agility, and some of them can even kick pretty hard to protect themselves from all sorts of predators. Right here, these are Collie cattle. Their horns get 3 to 4 foot long each, have a honeycomb-like structure inside that allows blood to flow through, helping them regulate their body's temperature. They were also worshipped in ancient Egypt and found in hieroglyphics dating back 6,000 years. Going up on our left is a den where predators pass this area will sometimes seek out shelter. A predator you can sometimes find over here is a pack of painted dogs. Now, painted dogs are the #1 predators on the savannah, beating out the big cats and the hyenas for that #1 spot. That's because they'll work together as a pack to take down their prey, which gives them a very high success rate when hunting. They're actually 3 times more likely to catch their prey than a lion is. The red and brown structures that you see up ahead, those are termite mounds made of mostly poop, saliva, and mud. Once they bake in the hot sun, some get as hard as concrete to make really good scratching posts for large animals. Alright, now it looks like we're going to get to see a baby giraffe. If you happen to know his name, I do ask that you please not say it while we're close by, and please make sure children are seated at all times. When a baby giraffe is born, it is 6 foot tall and makes a 7 foot drop to the ground from its mom, who is still standing when she gives birth. The baby then hits the ground and is up in an hour nursing as if nothing just happened. Now over here, these are wildebeest. Closer look at them, and then we got some Collie cattle crossing the roadway. We'll just wait for her to move real quick. Alright, and here we've got a couple of adult giraffes coming up. They're the tallest land animals in the world, getting 16 to 20 foot tall when fully grown. There's also sable antelope, which are those dark brown antelope. They have a dark coloration around their eyes to deflect sunlight from blinding them during the daytime. So they can keep a lookout for daytime predators easier. And then here, these are the eland. Now, what you can see that male eland doing now is he's creating a flower crown so he can look handsome for the ladies. That is a strategy they use. Now, giraffes have a 6 foot long neck, so it takes incredibly high blood pressure to push blood all the way up to their noggin. So, to accommodate a high blood pressure, they need a really big heart. So, a giraffe's heart's the size of a basketball. Alright, now we're going to make our way towards a part of the reserve where I heard the warden say earlier there was migration of elephants passing through. And I'm hoping that there's still some around that we'll get the chance to see. African elephants are the largest land animals in the world. They also have incredibly sensitive skins. They will throw dirt on their back in what's called a dust bath. And the dirt works as a sunblock and insect repellent to protect their super duper sensitive skin. pencil trunks which have all sorts of vegetation to deliver to their mouth to snack on. One elephant can eat anywhere from 300 to 500 pounds of vegetation in one day alone. They also use their trunk as a giant straw to pull water up into to spray into their mouth to drink or spray onto their back as a way to cool themselves down. We were having a big problem with elephants getting onto farmers' crops and trampling their food and eating their food. And the farmers really didn't like that because that's their livelihood. It's how they take care of their families. So the farmers were trying to get rid of those elephants, and we couldn't let that happen. So here at the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, using our elephants here, we learn because of their super duper sensitive skin, African elephants don't like bees. So we share that information with the farmers, who were then able to put beehives on their fences. So whenever the elephants got too close to their crops, the bees come out and sting them. And once an elephant's been stung by a bee one time, they tend to avoid that area the rest of their life. They have a fantastic memory. And one little bee sting is a lot better for the elephant than lose their life entirely. So it saved the elephant population, it saved the farmers' crops, and it gave the farmers a new source of income through the honey. And all it took was us paying attention to the gorgeous elephants here in our reserve, learning everything we can about them, and then applying that knowledge to how we can protect them as well. But we still have a lot to learn. The pregnancy for an African elephant can last for almost 2 whole years. 22 months to be exact. A little girl elephant will stay with her mom her entire life and will actually raise her own babies one day in the same herd her mom is in. But little boys, once they reach that special time in their early teen years, they will break off into solitude on their own, or will join a bachelor herd where they hang out with just the boys for the rest of their days. In a herd of females, there can be anywhere from 2 to 40 full-grown adult ladies along with their babies. They're led in a herd by what's called the matriarch, which is the big head mama that shows them where to go for food, water, and safety, which is information that's been passed to her through generations of matriarchs, just like her. Over here, these are greater flamingos, and they're the largest species of flamingo, get me 5 foot tall when fully grown. They're also lightest in pink coloration they get from the beta carotene and the brine, shrimp, and other small aquatic creatures that they eat. Now on their little island there, whenever it's nesting season, they will build their nest up about 2 foot high. So if the water rises, they don't have to worry about their eggs being washed away. Around this corner, there's a big muddy area where rhinos like to roll around in the mud to cover themselves with it to work as sunscreen. And there's rhinos over here now. Now these are the white rhinos. They're the ones that have a wide upper lip that's perfect for grazing out here on the savannah. And those rhinos are having a good time in the mud. We'll go get closer to the one that's still in the mud wallow. Ooh, if she'll stay put. For a long time through history, rhinos have been poached, in other words, illegally hunted to get their horn. They was often made into medicine in some cultures. But later it was realized their horn's made of keratin, the same thing as our fingernails and our hair, and has no medical use. But still to this day, they're poached and their horn is sold on the black market. So, because of all that poaching, we have lost a very large number of rhinos out of the world that we're supposed to have. And we've actually lost some species altogether entirely. Currently, worldwide, there's only 5 types of rhinos left. Now, you can see the one back there that's covered in mud that is using that fallen tree, kind of like a nail file, to sharpen and shape in her horn however she likes it to be. And that works because it's made of the same thing as our fingernails. There's a couple of cheetahs laying up in that clearing, right in the shade. Cheetahs are the fastest land animals in the world. They can reach top speed of 70 miles an hour, but they can go 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. As they run full speed, they use their tail like a bow runner to help them make sharp turns. We're also getting close to an area where I've had some luck in the past finding lions. Sadly, in the last 30 years, we have lost half the wild lion population. A lot of that is because of humans overpopulating their hunting grounds and taking away their food source in the process. So they're running out of things to eat out there. When a lion roars, it really does not sound like it does in the movies. It's more of a short burst. They do over and over again, but it's absolutely beautiful to hear. And if they do it loud enough and there's not too much noise pollution around, it can be heard from up to 5 miles away. Over here to your right, you can see some water buck. They drink more water than any other antelope species in Africa. And there's a couple of more of the white rhinos. This is a mom and her 4-year-old daughter. Sounds like there's an ostrich that's standing in the roadway up ahead. So that's why we've stopped for a moment. As we're stopping, show hands, arms, feet, and legs inside at all times. Please be sure to stay seated. Looks like we might be about to resume motion. Now here to your left, you can see some burrows that are made from warthogs. They are Africa's largest burrowing mammal. They dig out their burrows using their front feet and their tusk, and then back up into the burrow, into their tusk, out the front as defense. And around this corner where you found that ostrich. They're the largest birds in the world, and they are flightless. They use their wings to ensure when running. They run about 40 miles an hour at their top speed. And the ostrich is going to be right over here next to this green truck. Then down this next trail, there's a cluster of their eggs. Their eggs can withstand the weight of over 200 pounds without cracking. Since we've lost a large number of rhinos over time because of poaching, here at the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, we have a new species role plan for white rhinos. We have had 13 baby rhinos born here in the last 27 years this park has been open. 2 of the rhinos that were born here are now all grown up and have been released to the wild of Africa, where they've now had babies, even grandbabies of their own, contributing even further to the population's growth, which is so cool, but there's still so much work in conservation to be done. Now over here, these are Nigerian dwarf goats, and domesticated animals like Nigerian dwarf goats are very important in the conservation of wildlife, because we as humans want domesticated animals for things to do to survive instead of relying as much on wildlife. A lot of the animals that we have in our reserve are nearly threatened or even endangered in the wild. For animals like elephants, rhinos, and lions, we humans are the #1 threat they face. Since we're the #1 threat, also our #1 responsibility to them to make sure they're protected and taken care of, so they can be around for generations to come to enjoy, just as much as we did here today. Now, one way that you can help make a difference for African wildlife from your home is start recycling your old electronic devices when you're done with them, like cell phones, laptops, and tablets. In those devices, there is a mineral used called coltan. 60%, over half the coltan that is mined out of the earth, comes from Africa. And to get it, they have to completely destroy the homes of tons of beautiful animals, including elephants, mandrills, and even gorillas. So, when you're done with your old device, you can research online how to recycle it properly. So the old coltan in your old devices can be used in creating new devices. Reduce any burn for new coltan, therefore saving the animals' homes. Alright, my friends, we've made it back to the village of Harambe, and our try together is coming to an end. For any wilderness explorers on board, you've been on Simba 1. That's going to be your secret code word to get your badge for the safari. Again, that is Simba 1. It's going to be right around the corner from where I drop you off. Here at Kilimanjaro Safari, so don't let us say goodbye. It's far too final, far too sad, so instead we say Kwaherini, which to us here in the reserve means to go well. My name is Juliana. Kwaherini, friends, go well, go wild, make good choices for yourself and the wildlife all around you. And stay curious about our beautiful planet. If you have any questions about the animals that we saw today, please feel free to come and see me at the front of the truck. And I hope you all have as much fun as I did out here. Alright, my friends, the right hand side, put your hands, arms, feet, and legs. Your next shoes opening. Kwaherini, have a